Yes, a little far away, but I can hear you.
What about now?
Oh, that's better.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Get up close and personal in here.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just check the volumes for this for OBS. Okay, la la la. So, how's your day?
Everything good, man. Everything perfect.
Perfect.
How about yours?
Let's try to make it even better.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Let's see if we can do that. Nah, I got up way too late, dude. And I was like, okay, do I skip my morning exercise, skip shower, just go straight into the hard Damien boss, and then just get rolling, and then eat somewhere halfway through, or do I just skip hard Damien, get my exercise, shower, do cooking stream, eat, and then come to you a little bit later? I feel like the better option.
Yeah. This game is time consuming, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got like into the bad habit of like streaming for like 11 hours and then watching like 4 more episodes of Dexter, so
yeah.
Filling up my days.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's good you're getting exercise in though. It's important, man.
Yeah, I think it's more important to keep that and then possibly skip something else than to
Yeah.
skip
Sitting
that.
for too long is bad, man.
Yeah, I try to get up, go to the bathroom every now and then, do some push-ups, get some water, like not sit for 8 hours straight ever. I think the longest I ever sit is like an hour and a half, maybe.
Yeah, where I work, I'm sitting down, and when I come here, it's, I gotta do my dailies, and I have X amount of time to do it. So
Yep.
it's like, fuck.
Well, I guess that segues us into your routine. Like, how much time do you have to play?
Oh, well, I go to work. I have to wake up like around 5 a.m. and I work until like 3:30. So I get home like at 4. So try to eat real quick,
Mm-hmm.
and I do everything. I probably finish like around, I want to say 9 on a good day. But sometimes I just, I'm just tired from socializing at work and
Yeah, oof. Engaging with other people.
yeah.
Oof, yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes I skip dailies too, because it's just too much, man. That's
Yeah.
like, fuck. Yeah.
So you're taking like 4 hours. So you have like, let's say like 3 to 4 hours on
Yeah, 3 or 4.
on a weekday, and then in the weekends a bit more.
Yeah, a bit more, yeah. And I try to like spend time with my family and stuff, because they all tell me, you play too much, and it's like that.
You like have no idea how much I could be playing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And are you just like one PC setup? Is that how you do it?
Oh yeah, I do have a laptop, and I was thinking about it of doing a Arcane, but like I said, time is like a big factor.
Mm-hmm.
So I was waiting on the burning event, so I've leveled up her faster to do
For
it
sure.
on the other computer.
Mm-hmm.
I started doing, cause I got to a point in the game now where like I need mesos, like I need money, so I need a farmer now. So I just made it yesterday, and I'm like slowly making my kind of farm.
Okay.
Yeah, character.
And you feel like you need that meso because the training speed is just too slow, or?
Yeah, I think it's the damage, man. I just don't do enough damage to the monsters, and
Mm-hmm.
it slows down like my progress and stuff.
Okay. What level are you at right now?
Let me check. I think 204, 205, 204.
Okay.
Halfway to 205. Yeah.
And you're like in Vanishing Journey, trying to get to.
Yeah. Those are the dailies that priority. To
Mhm.
those. Yeah.
Yeah. So the main reason why you are feeling weak and like you need money is because the Arcane River area kind of takes into account that you will start gaining a lot more final damage with Arcane Power and with your boost nodes. And until you have that, your kill speed is just low, and it's kind of normal, but yeah, it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
That's definitely true.
Yeah.
But once you get boost nodes and you get those up and running, and once you hit the minimum Arcane Power requirement or even go over, so you get the extra final damage from that, you'll start seeing that you can kill way more easily. Another factor that also could be part of the equation is that, for what I heard from a lot of people, is that Double is not the best training character. I think it's still pretty good, especially early on still, but it definitely is not like in the upper 50% or something. It's definitely still doable, but those three things together will make it will just make it slower in the beginning, especially, which makes it rough.
190 to 200 was a pain, man. It was it was hard. It was hard. Yeah.
Okay. So what I say always is that there's not going to be like one thing that I tell you that you can like work on and then suddenly you're going to be one-shotting everything. It's going to be a combination of many small things, right?
I understand.
Yeah, because everything empowers each other. Everything works together in a multiplier, in a formula, and then what rolls out is big numbers. So we'll try to. Oh, you're like the naked dual blader without pants.
Yeah, I can't do CRA, man.
Pantsless.
I can't, and I don't know if I can get other pants to put on the slot. Like I haven't researched that.
I guess you could get like level 40 pants or something, but that doesn't really make any kind of dent in the whole system. Okay, so you're 2 of 4 now. Dual blade. We know how much time you have to play. Computer's available, so a laptop could be a possibility. Yeah, like Kishin and stuff on a second computer, I think it still has some value if you're training mules, so that you can keep your totems for your main if you're doing 2-hour sessions. We do have the new event coming, which I think will, for you, be very good to build your Legion out.
Okay. Yeah.
I think you can make massive gains there, and that will also help you make your main character a lot stronger. It feels weird because you're not actually playing your character, but they will provide your main character with a lot of damage. I think aiming for high Legion will be very useful for you because then you have a very solid foundation, and then any other character you play will get stronger and stronger as well, and every next character you work on the Legion on will be stronger and will level up faster.
That makes sense.
Let's see. I think this music is a bit loud. Chill. Oh yeah. So do you have a specific goal in mind, like an end goal for this character?
Well, I just want to get to my goal in any MMO that I play. I just want to get to late game. I just want to experience the really hard boss fights. But I'm taking it like step by step. So my goal, like as of now, is just to be able to solo CRA. At least 3 doors.
Okay, so short term solo CRA, and then mid-term would be like, I don't know, Damien and Lotus solo or something, and then long term would be like actual Black Mage fight?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So then, then having a farmer would be, for the long term, would be necessary either way. Because I would say, like, if you're working on a farmer now, it kind of might detract from the speed of the progress that you could still be making with your main. Because I think you're not like at the point yet, I don't think, where you should be really hitting that wall yet. I think there's still like a lot you can do. But if eventually you're gonna be aiming for that, then the sooner you start, the faster you'll get to the finish line, and the more funds you'll have to play around with, which means that you're less bound to events, which is always a good way, right? People who, because if you farm, you make more money, then you can just kind of brute force your way through, and you're not time gated by events and such, like I am, because I don't farm, so I have to wait until events come around and then go hard on those. And then you're kind of forced to go when there is one, and then you're forced to wait if there isn't one. But if you have a lot of money laying around, you can just push. Okay. Right, so that means that specifically, if you're working on your farmer, do you need information for the farmer to know how far to go for that?
Yeah, I just, I made her yesterday, literally. I have no idea, like, I don't know. I was supposed to research, but I had to go to church and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because it's Sunday. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, we can cover the basics. So it's basically going to be a bunch of boss accessory equips. And you could go for the alien fragment, since if she's a farming character, she doesn't need the IED. She doesn't need the boss damage that you can get from the boss accessory bonus. but she would get the extra 50 magic attack. So you're purely putting all of your eggs into the basket of just intellect and magic attack, basically. Just trying to get as much damage out of everything and not really working on your like bossing basics, like ID and boss. So do you know how the secondary works for Kana?
No, I don't.
Okay, so you can't equip a secondary weapon in the equipment slot, but if you go into the equipment slot, there's an extra tab all the way on the right side for Haku, which is the little fox guy right behind you.
Yeah.
And if you click that, there's only one slot available where the regular weapon is, and so you equip a second fan onto Haku, and that's your secondary weapon basically.
Oh, okay.
And then, but so it's kind of different for other characters. For other characters, you just, you have a secondary weapon, and you keep that typically for a long time, although you're DB, so for you it's also a little bit different, right? But for most people, they get a secondary, you keep it forever, so you just pump into it, you even get it to legendary pretty quickly, and then go for like a lot of attack, and then, you kind of just like leave it there and then min-max it later. But for Haku, it's a little bit different because you're just equipping another weapon, so you're basically, every time you equip your main weapon, you're kind of like putting that weapon onto Haku instead, and then getting rid of your Haku weapon, and you're like giving him the hand-me-down of what your main weapon was, kind of. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Because you want like a second best weapon, and then you want to have that one on, and if you improve your weapon, then you just give it whatever was your best weapon before that. So
okay. Yeah, it does make sense.
Yeah. So on the Haku, the one that you give the Haku, a lot of the stats when you equip it will be grayed out, and that just means that they won't do anything. So for potential, anything that's not percentage intellect or percentage magic attack will not do anything. But since you're a farming character, you're just going to be, that means you're going to be aiming purely for percentage magic attack, and then, maybe some intellect if you get that on top of it, but the percentage magic attack is just the main goal for both of the weapons. So that means that you should have no problem handing it down to Haku when you improve your main weapon, because you're looking for the same potential. And then for flames, you're also looking for the same thing. You're just looking for as much magic attack as possible. And if there's some extra intellect or some extra HP or MP or maybe damage, that would be nice for your main weapon. But for your Haku, you're just looking for like the highest tier magic attack, and that's it. Because when it comes to potential, it's just percentage intellect, percentage magic attack, and that just counts like the stats would on a secondary, right? Just the potential stats. But the stats on the fan itself all don't count either. But Haku gives a buff back to you, to the Kana, as a magic attack buff that is a percentage of the total magic attack of the fan. So the higher the total magic attack of the fan, the bigger that buff is. So it's only a percentage that comes back, but that means it's still valuable to Star Force it and to flame it for magic attack. But of course, you would only flame for magic attack if the item has flame advantage. Do you know about flame advantage and flame disadvantage?
I know a little bit about flames, but not too detailed like that.
Okay, so some items inherently will get what some people would call bad flames, or non-boss flames, or non-KMS flames, or shitty flames, whatever. Some items just don't have that quality. It's just that's just programmed into the type of equip it is. It's not like one earring can have it, one earring can't have it if they have the same name. Like a certain name equip always has it or never has it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So do you know which items can be flamed and which ones can be flamed? If you look at this.
No, I don't, but I know there's a website. I know you have like a command.
Yeah, we have a command. So basically, it's mostly the left and the right side where there's like a lot of exceptions. So rings cannot be flamed. Codex is no longer equipped, so this one cannot be flamed. This one can be. This can be. These all can be flamed. Shoulder cannot be flamed, is the exception here. And then only the cape can be flamed in this line. All of this cannot be flamed either. So it's like this one and this one. And then other than that, the whole line is negativo. And then shoulder is an exception for some reason. Everything else can be flamed. But then within the items that can be flamed, you want to prioritize flaming on items that have flame advantage, because they will have a higher expected value, like more bang for your buck for your flame. Like you'll have just better average outcomes. So you want to prioritize on those, and then when those reach a certain level where you're kind of close to what kind of goal you want to aim for them, then you could flame the other stuff. But I think flaming in general is kind of a min-maxy thing you kind of do when you're kind of done with your equips, or if you just have an item that can be upgraded by a lot, like for example your weapon, because you can get a lot of weapon attack from that. That's one you would kind of prioritize. But everything else is just, if you find some flames, you have some flames, and some item that just has a really shitty flame, then you just throw it on to see if you can improve. If everything is kind of okay on flames, then you just build up flames until they're about to expire, and then you use them in bunches so that you don't risk as much ending up with a flame that's worse than your original one. And if it is worse, you can kind of settle for something that's only a little bit worse so it doesn't feel too bad. And then you just start building up flames again. But until you really start bossing, your incomes in flames are going to be pretty low anyway. So it's mostly just going to be investing in star forcing and in potential until you are kind of like in a situation where you're either waiting, for the next event, or you're just like, I have a decent amount of money and my star force is pretty good, my potential is pretty good, but my flames are garbage. And then you can throw some money at flames.
Okay.
So, but mainly the items you're going to be focusing on is like, so you already have like the cup, so your weapon first, right? And then you like your cup, and then it goes by highest level equips with flame advantage. So that's like CRA has flame advantage. Once you have like the full CRA set, that's going to be pretty important. And then, well, if you get Abzo gear, that's not here yet, but if you get Abzo gear, that would be a slightly higher priority than Abzo because it's higher level, so it can get a little bit better results. And then just whichever accessories you have that have flame advantage. So Sakum Iron Face do, the Asitas earrings do. And if you, I don't know if you would switch, but if you would switch to the Pink Bean belt, for example, or Zakum belt, that would also have flame advantage. And those will be mainly like the main items. All the other ones kind of just, you kind of just leave them as they are, and then much later we'll come back to them. So they're kind of like very low priority.
Okay.
So weapon first, then highest level items with flame advantage, then slightly lower level items with flame advantage, then the highest level items without flame advantage, and then the lower level items without flame advantage is where you want to look for flaming. And you don't necessarily want to go through the entire list like one at a time to upgrade, but you really want to focus on the items with flame advantage over the items without flame advantage. And to know which ones are which in the beginning, if you're unsure, you can check the guide. But one of the easy ones to see, ways to see, is see how many lines of stat you get. Because if an item has flame advantage, you always have 4 lines that are affected. So if you look at your dagger, for example, this one has 1 line of dex and int. That's one, dex plus int is 1 line. If it was dex or intellect individually, it would be a higher number. And then it has attack power, it has magic attack, and it has damage. So that's the 4 lines. Well, your Katara doesn't have anything because it's a secondary, right? So you can't flame it. Yeah, these all can be flamed. These are all rings. And the earrings, you see, has an intellect and luck line. You see, it's the same number again. Speed, jump, and all stats. So that's the 4 lines again. And then this one actually also has 4 lines, but this one doesn't have flame advantage. So you see, it's not like it's not an exact science. You can't just always tell. But you see, the numbers are a little bit lower, right? Speed plus 1. That's a tier 1 speed. That's impossible for an outcome on a flame advantage item. I think 3 is the lowest. You couldn't even get a 2. So if you see a 1, that's an indicator here that it's flame disadvantage item. Also 720 HP I think is pretty low tier. And then 21 luck and 14 dex. And so those are not a split line. Those are separate lines as well. 14 on a level 120 item is also pretty low. So that's another way to know. This one has 12, 12, and 6. You see very small numbers, low amount of lines, so this one does not have flame advantage either. And then the cup, you see 40, 46, 6, right? Big numbers, big good numbers. So this one also flame advantage. Shoulder no flame. Belt doesn't have one, but this one is kind of tricky, but this one is probably a bit of a mix, right? You see a 12 here, a 27, a 39. So I think this is a 27 luck, 27 int, 12 dex, 12 luck line, and then a 24 strength line, I think. Although, yeah, not easy to know sometimes, because it could be mixed in some way. It could also be 12 dex, 12 strength, and then 12 strength, 12 luck, and then, you know, it's kind of, sometimes it's hard to puzzle. So because you don't really want to get too hung up on like what is the puzzle, what are the tiers, and like how close is it to how good it could possibly be. Instead of that, I use the flame score, which kind of gives a flame a value. So you just look at the green numbers and you get a kind of a value that rolls out on how good that flame is once you get to the end of the stage that you're in. So you basically only apply it when you're getting into the late game and when you're trying to min-max for the end game. So for you, you'll probably just be looking at the late game score to see how good is this this flame, and how does it compare to everything else that I have, and how does it compare to where I would roughly want it to be once I get to the end of the stage that I'm in. Do you need me to visualize that to make that a little bit more concrete?
No. I do understand. I do understand.
Yeah. So in the beginning, you can just put it in the flame score calculator. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Briefly.
So this is a calculator that Sethy Boy made. So for you could put the cup in there, for example. So it's 40 strength, 40 intellect, 6 all stat, 6 attack. So we're aiming for a late game here. You are a dual blade, so that's easy. That's important to preset because the values are a little bit different for you, because you have 2 secondary stats, right? So that means that some of the stats might have a little bit more value for you. So 6 and 6, and we calculate, so that's 83. And then we put here pink cup, and you can save it, and then boom, that one can be saved here for you in your own account. And then, so this is a level 140 item, right? So we can take another item that's around the same level that also has flame advantage to see which one has a better flame than the other one. So the hat, for example, is 130. That's pretty close. But we already know that's going to be lower, right? Because it's 6 attack and 6 all stat. 5 attack, 6 all stat. And this guy was 6 attack, 6 all stat, and had a little bit of strength. So this one's going to be higher, right? This one is a little bit more complicated, maybe, right? It's a little bit different. And this one is level 150. So we would expect this one to be a little bit higher to be the same quality of the flame. So that's 20 strength. 0 this, 20 luck. We could put the HP in, but it's not gonna do a difference, but we could do it for completion's sake. So this one is 76.5, so it's like CRA top save. So you can see that when it comes to whatever should be flamed first between these two, which one would you flame first?
The pink cup.
Because?
It has a higher score, flame score.
Yes, but it's a lower level item.
Oh, okay.
So the pink cup is only 140, right? And the CRA top is 150. And if you look at the big grid, where you see all the values, basically once you get to the next tier, you have the same tier gives you higher numbers and a higher level. So that means that if they had the same outcome, then you would expect a higher number. It's basically like the pink cup has unique potential and the CRA top has legendary potential, kind of is how you have to see it. And if you hit like 966 on the one, that would be equally hard as hitting 1299 on the other one, kind of is how you have to see it. So with the same type of outcome, you'd expect higher numbers. So between these two, let's say that all your other items are like around 80 or something, then this one is, and they're all the same level, the same quality, then you would flame the CRA top first. And you would aim for something higher, ideally, than the cup. But so the way that you can kind of keep track is if you check ! Progression. And progression looks at like what are the numbers that you want to roughly aim for. Because let's say that both your cup and your top are both kind of good enough. Maybe you don't have to flame anything, right? Maybe you can just wait until you get way stronger, or just spend your money on a different upgrade. So we look at the flame score here, and then depending on what stage you're in, so you're still here somewhere, right? So you're not going to be aiming super high, but you can see here, like by the end of the mid game, so once you hit like 220, the flame score for advantage items, so behind the / here, would roughly be around 75. So taking that into account, you can see that both your top and your cup are already fine where they are. And you'll only be aiming for like around 95 to 100 But that's like once you reach level 250 and you have all of that other gear going in, right? So for now, these items are perfectly fine. But you might find that for some other items, there's still a lot of gains to be made. But that doesn't mean go buy 100 flames. But that means if you have flames, look at what item has the greatest potential growth compared to what is the flame score now and what is the goal flame score here, and then prioritize those in flaming. Does that make sense? Like, let's say you have let's say if you have a flame disadvantage item and it has like 10 flame score now, that means you're aiming for 15 more. But let's say you have something that has flame advantage but has 50 now, well, you have 25 to gain there. So possible gains are better. So that's a priority for flaming.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you get something very good and it's like around these numbers, then you know that you don't have to touch that in like a long time. So near the end here, higher, there's a split. There's like a range instead of just a flat number, and that's because of the level difference in the items. So in the beginning, everything is going to be like between 140 and 150, and you'll maybe get like 1 or 2 Absolab items, but probably not yet. So the range is still pretty narrow. But as you get into late and even into end, you'll have some items that are like level 140, like the cup, and then some items level 200, like Umbra. And there, the same tier gives you such a big difference that there's actually a really wide gap. Like on the cup, you'll aim for endgame like something like 110 or maybe. But then on Umbra, 110 will be actually really bad. And you can aim for something like 150. So that's why that range comes in later in the game. And then in the bottom, you can see like what kind of bosses you can be doing. So this is going to be like a major guideline for you to see what are you going to be trying to work on in... So not necessarily what you have to have, but more like this is what you roughly are expected to have to be able to kill all the content near your level. And then you can see where you have the most room for growth, and that's probably where, if you invest your money there, you can get the best returns on your money and see the biggest increase for your damage.
Yeah, that's super good, man. I never seen that. The progression milestone thing, I never seen it.
Yeah, I try to like condense everything, and sometimes it changes a little bit. I do it with 4 stages. A lot of people just have like early, mid, and late, I think. Mm-hmm. But I feel like because we have 275 levels, I feel like it's not enough to really show all of the stages that we go through. And because we have so many bosses as well, I feel like I split it up in 4. It just feels right to me. So I put 175 here because that's typically when you move into like future Parion and stuff, or future Genesis, and that's where the monsters get a lot stronger and they deal a lot more damage to you. And that's when you feel like the leveling gets a lot different.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, exactly, right? And then once you get like past... you get a big jump there with extra hypers, and then it starts slowing down again at 200, but then because of 5th job, that kind of compensates for it. And as soon as your boost nodes, so your node levels are here as well, Arcane Power is here as well. Once that comes online, that kind of helps you out. But then once you get to... In the beginning, you can still level pretty quickly, which means you get to higher level areas pretty quickly, and then the Arcane Power of those areas starts kicking in earlier and earlier. Because in the beginning you can get a bump from Arcane Power. Sometimes there's like titles. You can get extra Arcane Power from a guild, right? Every extra new symbol gives you 30, plus the area's symbols, especially early on, level up very quickly. But once you get into Lacaline and everything, the symbol doesn't level that quickly anymore. And that's when the monsters start getting quite a bit stronger. And that's when the importance of really working on your equip starts creeping in again. And I think once you fund that and you're able to power through with your boost nodes and your Arcane Power, and you can keep that up, then it's actually kind of smooth sailing to 250. Is just grinding it out. But if you really want to push past 250 and really get to the end, that's when you've really got to start like hardcore upgrading again. So that's why I have these 4 stages. Yeah, so you can see with the end of this stage would be like Chaos Papulatus, definitely solo CRA. We could probably do that a little bit earlier. But it's like, yeah, so the middle of the stage would be like 44, that would be like just around 200. And I think like at 200, soloing CRA is probably a little bit too early. I think my DB did it at 203. I know a bunch of people who do it like between like 203, 204, up to 210, at 210 is like the earliest. But if you're like on one of your new characters and you're pretty new to the game, doing it like between 210 and 220 is like reasonable. because you'll just need you need a little bit more time to build up your node levels, right? Because I can just dip into my storage, take 500 nodes if I want to, and just boost my character and kill it. It's very easy. Because do you know about boost nodes and the matrix and how all of that works?
I unlocked it, I think this week. Yeah, I unlocked it this week, so I don't have a full 100% understanding about it, but I kind of a little bit, man,
So there's two main things, right? There's skill nodes and boost nodes. So you already have them here on your screen. And there's also special nodes, but they basically are completely not important. So there's two types of nodes and two ways of upgrading. So one way of upgrading is by leveling up and enhancing your nodes, and the other one is by leveling up and enhancing the slot that you put the node in. So I think you've enhanced this slot here.
The second one.
Yeah. Because you can see by the color, right? You can see the rim is a little bit thicker. So every node slot can go up to max of level 5. And what it does is whatever node you put in there will get that amount of levels of the node slot extra temporarily. And if you move it around, it'll just switch. So what this allows you to do is every single node that is a boost node or a skill node can be leveled up and enhanced up to level 25 at the max. But you can also put it in level 5 slot, and then it will be a level 30, and it will get the effect of level 30. Okay. What that means for a skill node is, for most skill node, it'll just mean that the damage will go up. But for some skill nodes, what it could mean is sometimes the uptime increases, sometimes like the cooldown goes down, or the effect duration goes up, or sometimes a percentage of the skill changes that makes it more effective. Now for Dual Blade, I don't think any of that changes. It's purely just the damage of the skill going up. Which does mean, basically in general, that the boost nodes are not super priority in general, but the skill nodes aren't, but rather the boost nodes. Because what the boost nodes do is they empower your fourth job skills that you already have and that you're using all the time and that you have 100% uptime on. Whereas skill nodes typically have cooldown, so it's nice that they do more damage, but you can't use them all the time. Now, again, in that situation, Dual Blade is a little bit different because your fifth job skills have very short cooldowns. Right? You can use your, I don't know the names, it's like Blade Slash and Tempest Tornado or something. Oh, here, Blade Tempest, Blades of Destiny, I can see the names right here. Like, those have very short cooldowns, right? So by cycling between them, they can actually help your mobbing a lot. But, again, they usually already do a lot of damage just by themselves. And you can probably already use them to one-shot monsters, right?
Yeah, that's been carrying me through 200.
Exactly. Yeah. So what you want is, so those are nice, and once bossing comes into play, you definitely want to boost those. But until bossing comes into play, you want to focus on the boost nodes to make sure that when those skills are on cooldown, you're not just sitting there with your hands in your pocket just waiting for the cooldowns to finish, but you can actually still kill monsters. So there's two main things, right? It's the arcane power, which we'll get to right after this, and it's the level of the boost nodes. So typically, you will boost the skills you use the most, which most of the time are your fourth job skills. Do you know which skills you're looking for in your boost nodes?
No, I don't.
Okay. So which skills do you use the most? Which skills do you think would be most useful for boosting?
The ones I already have, or the ones that you can't get?
So boost nodes is the gray nodes. So those boost existing earlier job skills. The skill nodes are the blue ones that unlock new skills. So which boost nodes, which skills do you think you need in your boost nodes so that you can empower them?
I don't know the name of the skills. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, it's all like blade something.
Blade Fury, Final Cut, Phantom Blow, Sudden Raid. Let me see. Flying Assaulter. Blade Ascension. I don't know about Blade Ascension because I use it for mobility, not really for damage. Like you said, all those skills that they don't have cooldowns. That I want 100% uptime on the boss.
So there's like you kind of have like a luxury problem, right? Because ideally you just want to boost everything so that everything does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
But the problem is a boost node holds 3 skills, and if you want to max boost one skill, you can boost them up to 60 levels. So that means, remember, the boost node can go up to 25, the slot can go up to 5, so a total node can go up to 30, and the total boosted for one skill is up to 60. So if you have one skill in 2 separate boost nodes, and those are both maxed in a max slot, you will hit that 60. So if you want to boost, like, let's say 8 skills or something, right, because you've named a bunch of them now, that means that you need, so 8 skills would be 16, right, because you need them in 2 different nodes. And there's 3 per node, so that wouldn't mean that you would need 7 boost nodes. No, wait. Okay. Did I just do the math correctly? 8, 16, 5, 6 boost nodes. That would be right. Which is a lot. Because that's like everything you have now and 10 more levels, and then you have to get rid of all of your skill nodes. So you kind of have to pick which ones are the most important, and then boost those. And if it hits like so 3 is like 3 skills is like the magic number, because if it's 3 skills, you have them each both. You have them all 3 twice, so that's 6 in total, which means 2 boost nodes with all of them in different orders can boost all of them to the max, and then you're only using 2 slots. If you have 4 skills, is a little bit weird, because then you have 8, which is not, you can divide that by 3, right? So then you have like 1 extra that's kind of like limping in. If you have 6 skills, that's perfect again, right? Because then you have 6, 12, so that's 4 boost nodes, and that maxes out everything. So there's one link here. It's an old Reddit thread. It's not 100% up to date anymore, but for Dual Blade, we checked, it is still up to date. So they advise you first to level up Phantom Blow, Blade Fury, and Asura's Anger. Right, so Asura's Anger is your hyper skill. Those can also be boosted in the boost nodes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's when you like spin around with the owl thing.
Yeah.
And then Blade Fury and Phantom Blow. These are just the skills you're going to be using the most in both mobbing and bossing. So it's just important to have this. So if you're looking for 2 boost nodes in the beginning to level up, then any boost node that has these 3 skills in any order would be perfect. So let me circle back to the leveling up and the enhancing. So if you have boost nodes, so you have when you took this screenshot, I think you were memory leaking, because it's not supposed to show up like this. It's supposed to show like 3 different skills, and it shows like a different part of the icon. But when you're memory leaking, it shows like all 3 of the the skill on the left, and it looks like 1 skill. Maybe I can show you on my screen here. Yeah, so like this boost node, you see? Like it has 3 different icons. They're all a little bit blue and white, but you see they have 3 different icons.
Yeah, I see.
So whichever one is on top, that is important, because that determines the name of the node. So for me, it's Ether Bloom and Blade Torrent. Like that one is the main skill, and that one is very important, because that one will determine that other boost nodes I want to use to enhance this boost node with will have to have the same skill on the top line, which when it comes to the icon is not the top, but is the left side here. See, this is the bloom. Visually the bloom icon. So if I go through the boost nodes I still have, like this one, I could use this one to level up this one right here. See, it has Hunting Decree here on top and Hunting Decree here on top.
Okay.
So if I go to a node master, I can right click this node and click enhance, and then this one will show up as a possible enhancing node, and this one will then get consumed, and all of the skills I have here this node will gain experience, and if it's enough experience to get to the next level, then these skills will get enhanced. So it just matters if the top skill is the same. The other ones don't matter, because your like base node, which is this one, might get leveled up or gets more experience. So these 3 skills are the one that gets stuck. So it's important that when you're opening nodes, that you look for nodes that have 3 of the skills that you all want to boost, which we call tri-nodes, because it has 3 useful skills. So in the beginning, you're going to be looking for Phantom Blow, Blade Fury, Asura's Anger, or Phantom Blow, Asura's Anger, Blade Fury, or Blade Fury, Asura Anger, Phantom Blow, or Asura Anger, Phantom Blow, Blade Fury, or Asura, right? Just in any order.
Okay, yeah.
But what's very important with that is that you can only equip a boost node with the same top line once. So I can't have 2 boost nodes that start with Ether Bloom. They all have to start with a different skill, you see? So I have one that starts with Ether Bloom and has 2 other ones that I need. One that starts with Hunting Decree and 2 other ones that I need. One that starts with Ether Forge and 2 other ones that I need. And the 4th one I have down here. And that one has Magic Dispatch and 2 other skills that I need. And if you add all of that up, I have all the skills that I want. I have them all twice. And then eventually, when I max them all out, everything will be at level 60 and will be maxed out. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So the sooner you lock yourself in to which boost node you take, the more you limit the amount of options you have later. Right? Because you're trying to like puzzle them together. And if you lock in everything except for one, then you put a lot of pressure on getting that last one that has to be the exact boost node you need, and it's going to be very tricky. So it is possible that in the beginning that you just pick like a you have like a Phantom Blow Blade Fury, and maybe you have a Blade Fury Asura Anger, and then maybe you have Asura Anger Phantom Blow, and you use that in the beginning. Because the main thing, we haven't talked about this yet, but the main thing is you get final damage from these boost nodes. So this one is level 15, so this is like pretty high level already, right? You won't get this like very quickly. But because this one's level 15, this one's level 16, this one's level 10, this one's level 10, I haven't equipped it yet. If you look at the total, so these are the skill nodes, right? Including the, well, we haven't gone over these yet. But you will see that because this one is level 15, so it's level, it's level 10, but it has plus level 5 from the node slot. So it comes out as 15. That means that I get 30% final damage increase for those skills that are in that. This one's level 36 in total. That gives me 72% final damage increase. This one's level 41. That gives me 82% final damage. So, you know, that's almost just like doubling your damage, right? Yeah. So that in combination with hitting the Arcane Power. Do you know about the Arcane Power and the limitations there?
No, I don't.
So if you're in a map that needs Arcane Power, on the top left...
Oh, no, I know that. I know that.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah,
It'll show the number, right? And then if you hover over it, it'll show you if you're taking extra damage or dealing less damage, or if you're dealing more damage, right?
It's just like the Star Force thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. So if you're 10% over, you'll take 10% less damage and deal 10% more final damage. And at 30%, it changes to 30%. And at 50%, you only take 1 damage anymore because the intake damage goes down to 0%. So you just take 1 damage from everything. And your final damage is increased by 50%. So when you boost your final damage completely to level 60 on a 4th job skill, you'll get plus 120% final damage. And from the Arcane Power, you'll get plus 50% final damage. And final damage is multiplicative with each other. So those two things together will increase your final damage by like 180%. Which is like nuts, right?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. No. So you're basically dealing almost 3 times your damage once you hit those thresholds compared to now.
Yeah, I didn't know the V matrix was such...
Yeah, so because it starts pretty mild. It starts like, oh, you're getting new skills. That's cool. But it's besides getting new skills, it also empowers your main skills by fuck ton. So the combination of being able to use your new skills every now and then and having your main skills be way stronger, your kill speed starts getting better and better. So one of the things that's very important for you is that you try to jump on all of the sources of nodes that you possibly can. And one of those sources is having a farmer with drop rate that can kill in a higher level area and that can generate those nodes for you. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is events. Your weeklies in Vanishing Journey, right? If you do like two dailies, you get the weekly quest to get some extra nodes there.
Yeah, that's how I've been doing. I was gonna ask you like, because I don't know how you farm those. I don't know where you get them. I only get them in the Vanishing Journey thing. Yeah,
it's those two, and it's just Arcane River monsters all can drop them. So the more drop rate you have and the more you train, the more of them will drop.
Okay.
Yeah. So you know which skills to look for, right? So the possible second set of trinodes would be Sudden Raid, Blade Clone, and then well, it's not called Blade Clone anymore, I think, right? I think it has a different name now. Oh God, where are my dual blades in the chat? I think it's not called Blade Clone anymore.
Is it the Shadow Partner thing?
Fuck, they changed the name. And it's Blade Ascension because, like you said, you mainly use it for mobility. But among all the things that you use, it is like used the most later in the game. So it's the most useful out of the least useful ones, basically. That's why it's not in bold here. It's kind of like optional extra, but it's not super important. I think they changed the name for Blade Clone, but I forget which skill it is.
Oh, no, I know what Blade Clone is. No, I know which one it is.
Oh, it is Blade Clone? Okay.
Yeah, it is Blade Clone.
Okay. And then, so the reason you don't really buff Sudden Raid in the beginning is because as you get stronger with Arcane Power and Boost Node, Sudden Raid will still one-shot. Okay. So it's not super important. But later on in the game, if you're attacking a boss and he's like about to disappear, you can throw out like a Sudden Raid for like, just for like a bunch of damage while he's going away anyway. And you can like sneak it in at the end. And then you can do a little bit more damage with one Sudden Raid than you would with one Phantom Blow. So then you do a little bit extra damage. That's why it's...
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
About Sudden Raid. Okay, so when I use Sudden Raid, right, on a boss, because it has a delay, so I still don't understand.
Yeah, so if
basics,
I get it. Yeah,
what to call it. Yeah.
So if he's targetable when you use it, even if he completely disappears after you're still doing your animation and everything, as long as when you press the button and you started your animation, the boss was targetable, the damage will just appear somewhere in the map wherever the boss is at that point. Even though he might not be visible at all, like if you use it right before Vellum goes underground and you're still doing like the shooting in the air part, he might be completely gone, but you'll still see the damage like pop up. But yeah, if you do it right after he goes into the ground, then you'll just hit nothing. It's a timing thing that you have to get used to.
Okay.
I was gonna say one thing extra. Okay. Oh, so if you need like a little bit of a backup or some extra information, if you're in the vMatrix screen here, you see this question mark here in the bottom right?
Hold on, there's a little delay on the stream.
Yeah.
Question. Yeah, I see it.
So if you click that one, the node master dude will basically answer like a lot of questions that you have if you need to read something back.
Okay.
So if you're opening a bunch of nodes and the top skill or the skill that shows up here in the left visually is not a skill that you want, you can just immediately extract them for the matrix. No, node shards. There you go. For node shards. Okay. And then with the node shards later, you can then craft nodes again. So the best setup, if you're mobbing, is probably Blades of Destiny. No, wait, Blade Tempest. Yeah, Blades of Destiny and Blade Tornado. And then 2 boost nodes in the beginning. And then, one thing we didn't talk about yet, then you have your decent skills that you can get. Once you open more nodes, you'll get those as well. So that's like, basically those are explorer skills. And it's kind of a weaker version of them, but they're still really good. So decent Holy Symbol, decent Speed Infusion, and decent Sharp Eyes are typically the most commonly used ones. Sharp Eyes is not as important for you because you already hit the 100% crit rate once your clone dodges something, right? Or you avoid an attack and then you just have 100% crit for a while. Speed Infusion just gives you an extra rank of attack speed, and Holy Symbol will give you more experience and more drop rate. So that's also something that will help you get more nodes later on. So that's a nice node to include in both mobbing and bossing for more boss drops and for more nodes and just more drops when you're training.
And that's just like a buff, right?
Yeah, it's just a buff, and you can see that it has a cooldown, so you can't put it on like autocast or on a macro. But even at level 1, it has a higher uptime than it has cooldown. So it always has like 100% coverage as long as you don't DC or die without buff freezers or something.
Oh, okay.
And usually you don't level these up because of that uptime, and leveling them up doesn't really do much. They only gain like a little bit of stat every 5 levels or something. The only one that matters if you level it up is Holy Symbol, because the percentage experience and the percentage drop rate does go up.
Okay.
So usually for the other ones in the beginning, if you already have the decent skill, you just extract it for extra shards. Unless it's Holy Symbol, you would probably want to level that one up. And then yeah, special nodes, you just extract those. And you're basically just going to be fishing for those boost nodes, right? So you're fishing for these. That's going to be very important. And then once you have those, you try to equip them in your leveled up slots so you can get all of that extra final damage from those. Does that make the Matrix a little bit more
definitely.
Understandable?
Yeah, I do understand it now. Yep. More than before.
Good, good. Yeah, so and as you get more slots, well, in the beginning you're gonna have to be pretty particular, right, with which ones you improve. If you can choose between a strong skill or like a level 1 boost node, the skill is probably better. But if you can choose between a level 1 skill that has a long cooldown or like a level 5 boost node, well, then the boost node is probably better. So you'll probably have to switch around a little bit in the beginning to see what just makes more sense. Because in most maps, probably rope lift doesn't really matter too much, right? You have blade ascension, you have the jump, you have teleporters in a lot of maps as well, and you're probably going to be looking for more horizontal flat maps in general as a dual blade anyway. So the rope lift is not going to be used much. But if you don't have a good boost node to equip instead, then that's not really useful. So
that's why I'm using it. It's nice. Rope lift is nice. Man.
It is, yeah. You don't want to get a rope lift is like chapstick. You don't want to get addicted to it because then you can't live without it anymore.
Yeah.
And what is it? Blade Tempest is like bad for training, right? Because it just locks you in place. It actually slows you down. It can help you kill elite monsters though in the beginning. That's probably what you use it for, right? To kill elites faster. Yeah. But as you get stronger, elites kind of become non-issues because as you're just rotating the map, you just run through them, and then after like 2 or 3 or 4 rotations through them, they kind of just die anyway. And they stop really like slowing you down, unless when it's the butterflies and stuff. Yeah, the elite champions are a little bit more annoying, but
yeah. Sometimes I had to stop because I'm trying to kill him, and then I just drop my combo, and it's like, man.
Yeah, that's not cool. That's not cool. Well, but that's going to happen more in the beginning because you're not killing the monsters as quickly that you drop your combo. But as you get the kill speed up, the combo is just going to, it's going to be great. Okay, so that's Matrix. Is that the first thing we talked about? Yeah. Because I have this. Oh yeah, we talked about flames and flame score. That all makes sense, right?
Yeah, it does.
Matrix makes sense. What else? Transfer hammering and transposing. Does that make sense to you?
Transfer hammering, I do understand. Transposing, I have one question. For example, you see, what's the name of that equip? The one that second drops, the one in the face. If I were to transpose that on a Sweetwater equip, would it still hold the epic potential, or would it go down to rare? Or
so the Pepilatus mark into the monocle, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, basically. So for example, if the mark has a legendary, does it stay legendary, or does it go down?
If you transpose, it keeps whatever tier it has, but it rerolls the stats within the tier.
Oh, okay.
And if you would transfer hammer, then it would go down. It would only keep up to epic at the highest, but it would keep the lines within the tier.
Okay, it
makes
sense.
That's how they differ. Yeah, I have a video on that as well. If you want to read, listen back to the details and everything.
Yeah.
Because there's limitations with which types of items you can use and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
IED is like. Do you know about IED? How that works?
I know it's I know what it is. I don't know what it is. It's basically armor penetration.
Yes.
Armor penetration. Yeah.
Armor penetration.
I just didn't know how to say it like specifically.
Yeah. Okay. A little bit ESL, English second language thing.
Oh yeah. I'm from. Yeah, I was. Yeah.
You were thinking in Spanish.
Yeah. It happens a lot. Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah, so it's armor penetration. So you have 2 skills. I think it's Blade Tempest and Asuras Anger, I think, that have 100% built in. If you look at the skill description, it's always very important to see which ones have the extra IED.
Yeah, it has 100% IED.
So that means that if there's ever 100% in IED, that means that it just ignores all the defense, no matter how many other lines of IED you have. Basically, how IED works is all of the sources of IED that you have all get added one at a time, and they all give you that percentage of IED that the line is of how much you still need to go from where you are to get to 100%. So right now, visually, you're at 25%, which is super low. But if the bosses you're fighting have very low defense and you're mainly relying on skills that have 100% IED, then actually that doesn't matter. But when you're using your skills, your other skills that don't have a lot of built-in IED, then this will make it so that a lot of the armor of the boss blocks pretty much all of your damage. And some bosses that you will fight, if you use Blade Tempest or Azura's Anger, you'll just do like full damage. And if you use your other skills, you'll be hitting like ones or very, very low damage. So in general, you'd want the IED to get to a certain point where you can have an optimal distribution of not too much penetration so that you lose damage, like lose out on damage, but enough penetration so that enough of your damage can go through. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Mm-hmm.
So depending on what stage of the game you're in, bosses will have a certain amount of armor, and then as they go higher, they'll get more and more armor, and then you'll need to rely on IED more and more. So
yeah, I know. For example, I know Seville, you need to have like, I think it's 80%, something like that.
So yeah, so what we go by, or what I go by, is the functional IED, which basically is like when you hit a monster, how much IED is applied at that very moment when you hit the monster, which is different from the visual IED, which would be the 25% that you see here. Because the 25% is what the game knows that you can put out no matter what skill you use and no matter what thing you hit. But if the thing you hit is debuffed in a way, or if the skill you use gets a specific buff for only that skill, then that effect and that effective IED, that functional IED, is only applied when you hit the monster on effect, and that number will be different from this number. So it's important to know, like, for example, you have 25% IED here, but if you hit something with Azura's Anger, it'll be 100%, right? Mm-hmm. So this number doesn't apply there, because you add a line of 100% that only Azura's Anger has. So, and one thing where boost notes come in as well is that boost notes also empower your skills when they reach certain levels. So you can see here at level 20, it'll give max target +1, and at level 40, it gives monster defense ignore +20%. And that's what most skills have, that, where you get 20% IED extra at level 40. So that line of 20%, basically, once you have everything boosted, will always be applied, but only on hit for those specific skills, which will be all skills. But so it still won't show up here, but it'll be always effective. So for your calculations and to know how much IED do I want, how much damage do I want, how much boss damage, how much attack, it's important to know that the IED that you're working with in your calculations is different than the one in your screen. Mm-hmm. So I believe, what's your skill? Phantom Blow. I think Phantom Blow has like a built-in 30% and Blade Fury like 20% or something. So those also have a bit more.
Yeah. Blade Fury is 20% and Phantom Blow is 30%.
Yeah. So yes. So when it comes to armor, Vellum has 200% armor. And I believe Helix has 250%, and then beyond that, the harder bosses that are like Lotus and Damien and everything harder has 300%. So that means if you fight a 300%, if the 25 was actually your defense number, you only ignore 25% of the armor. So if he has 300%, if you're attacking Damien, for example, right, who has 300%, you're ignoring 25% of that, which is 75%. So he still has 225% armor, so you deal 225% less damage than your normal damage, which is minus 125%. Yeah. So you deal like, you're basically healing him at that point. So you need, this number is going to have to be a lot higher, but specifically when you're bossing. So where will you get that? You can get that from your hyperstat. You will be getting that from your boost nodes, right? You can also sometimes get it from passive hyper skills that you've seen. I think Dual Blade has one of those, right? Where you can increase the IED on your on some of your skills. You can get it from the Legion, and you can get it from Link skills.
Yeah, I had IED on my badge, and then I re-rolled it for attack percent. I don't know which one will be better.
Oh yeah, on your emblem, you mean?
Yeah, on my emblem. Yeah.
Yes, so it can also come from the emblem, the secondary, and the weapon. However, though, based on how your character is set up And what we have access to, there's also more sources of ID, but you can check !ID in the chat to see like a full list. Based on how your kit is set up for your character, you will be needing way less ID than a lot of other classes because you have so much built-in ID in your kit, right? So you will be relying on that way less than other people. Same thing for critical rate. Other people really have to focus hard on getting 100% crit rate early on to make sure that all of their critical damage can apply. But you can get 100% critical rate very easily. That's why Dual Blade is seen as one of the bosses that gets online a lot faster than other classes, because you can hit that 100% crit and that high IED very easily, and you can focus way more on the boss damage, the percentage attack, and the critical damage than other classes. And as a result, you have a huge advantage early on.
I didn't know that, actually.
Not to mention Final Cut is really good.
Yeah.
And you know about the Final Cut and then use Sudden Raid after that to lower your cooldown, right?
No, I didn't. So you use Final Cut and then Sudden Raid?
Yes. Okay. If you use Sudden Raid while Final Cut is on cooldown, then you will lower the cooldown of Final Cut, and then you can make sure that the uptime stays higher. And I think with the 25% buff duration, that might actually be enough to keep it close to 100% uptime. Yeah, and then later on you actually want to go for more than 100% uptime on Final Cut, because Final Cut is also an iframe. And
yeah,
then,
I know it.
Yeah, so if you don't always have to use it to have your final damage up, but you can have a little bit of a wiggle room, then you can also use it for survivability, and you're not like forced to use it or to choose between either survivability or damage, but you can choose both. So that's why buff duration is always a nice later iterability line on second or third line to give you that possibility. Okay, so I think we're covering a lot of stuff. You're still with me? Everything still makes sense?
Yeah, it does for sure.
Good. Yeah. So, what do you know about familiars and how all of that works right now?
I used to play back in the day, and I know they've reworked it. I have no idea how it works now, man.
So, do you have anything from back in the day? You have like a spider or?
Oh yeah. Well, this account, I used to play on another account. I forgot the password. I used to play when Kana got released. I remember I was playing
A little bit ago,
and
yeah.
yeah, and I just couldn't make any progress, man. I just didn't know anything about the game. And that plus the language barrier, it was kind of hard. And my computer was a toaster. I couldn't even do anything, man. So I just, I just stopped playing.
Yeah, the enjoyment factor gets pretty low with all of those things on top of each other.
Yeah.
Would say, yeah. Understandable. Yeah, how familiars work now? It's basically if you collect familiars, you will open up. You can open up sets for badges. Like if you collect all 4 of those by double clicking them, making them appear in your setup, then the badge set will complete. And then here you will be able to equip the badge set, and then you'll get the bonus effect of the badge set here. And you can equip up to a total of 8. When you complete 1 extra set, you will get a quest that allows you to equip or unlock the second slot. But then for the third slot, you will have to get 10 badges, which is way more difficult. So it's very easy to get 1 extra familiar and just double up on your familiar value, but it's pretty hard to get the third one. It's still doable though, but it's significantly harder. So the way it works for familiars now is that just any familiar that has the possibility to drop any monster that has the possibility to drop a familiar will most likely drop common, and then at a lower rate will drop the rare one. So those will be the one with the blue edges. I don't think I have any of those though. No, but you'll see very clearly that they have a blue edge around. And the higher the rarity, the better the lines basically. But what you're going to be looking for mostly, specifically because of your 25% IED visually, is probably just IED lines if you want a boss, or any kind. So IED lines or healing if you want a boss, and any kind of drop rate, either item drop rate or meso drop rate or a combination, if you're trying to train. So that will help you with node stones, and then the other one will help you with more damage on bosses and with healing you and possibly your party members.
Because before I remember the spider was a big thing because it will give you drop rate, but now I went to farm one because I thought it would have give you the same thing, but it gave me. So I don't know which ones give what. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So it just depends on the color border that they have. The border determines what. So it's basically like every familiar is like any equip now, and they have hidden potential. And if you reveal it, if it's common, you can get the common lines of potential, and if it's rare, you can get the rare lines of potential.
Is there any way to re-roll that, or?
No, there's no way. The only way to reroll in Reboot is to level one up, and that means you have to go to collection, and then you have to fuse the same familiars like together like this until you get all the way to the max bar. Then you have to equip the familiar and level it up to the max level by killing monsters near your level, and then you can attempt to rank up, which also has a chance to fail. And then if it succeeds, then you can reveal it once in the new tier, and then that's stuck there again until you level it up to the next rank again, which takes way more points. So we don't have... Basically, it's like having potential, but no cubes. So what does that mean? You have to farm a lot of equips and reveal all of them.
Yeah.
In non-reboot, they have the red familiar cards, which are like cubes. I still have some hope that maybe with some events or some compensation or in some kind of way we would have access to some red cards, but that's only like hope. I don't think it's coming, but you know, I'm trying to like keep the option open, but I shouldn't rely on it, but you know, in case it does, that would be cool. So it's all about just opening as many familiars as possible, and the familiar drop rate seems very pretty much correlated to just how many monsters you can kill in a map. So what's typically like good training maps will also be typically good maps to farm familiars on, wherever you can just kill more monsters. So like Forsaken Excavation Site 2, you know, the rocky masks. That map also drops a lot of familiars, but it's just because you can kill a lot of minions there as well. So that's like one of the maps where people will farm familiars. I saw some other areas. I saw some people at like blue mushrooms. I think drakes, some people do that. Those seem to drop a lot of them. Some people are at shades, which are like those ghosts in the Kerning subway. Yeah, whichever map just has a lot of spawn and a lot of monsters will just end up dropping a lot of cards too.
So any familiar is good. There's not a specific one.
So a higher rank is still better. And the reason why Forsaken Excavation Site 2 is also so good is because they drop both the common and the rare cards for the Rocky Masks. So you have like 2 different familiars that are dropping, so that gives you a total amount of more familiars.
Okay.
And if the familiars are shit, what you can do with them, which a lot of them will be shit, right? What you can do with them is extract them. So you just put them all in here. So I could do that with a few. Wait, are these all shit? Hang on, let me double check. 1% strength, Pog chapped in. Yeah, you gotta aim low. Yeah, so okay, I want to get rid of these, so that gives me 50 points, and then it's gonna lag my game probably for a bit. Ooh, no game, never mind. Yes, game lag, here we go. It does that, especially the first time. Game not responding, amazing. That's for 5 cards, imagine doing it with 20. Okay, and still not responding. How's my RAM usage? Wow, that's impressive. Well, those points will go into your shop if you click that. And in the shop you can buy 3 items. One is the item that lets you keep your familiars up longer, because the familiars have a bar now. And the bar goes down, and when it's down, you just have to wait until the daily reset until it replenishes. But you can also use the special familiar gas to give it plus 50%, but that costs those points.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, and then the more defense your familiars have, so that means the higher level they are, and the more familiars you have, the slower the bar will go down, which is a little bit counterintuitive, but yeah. So that allows you to keep the familiars up for longer. But yeah, in the beginning, you're just going to be farming cards in the first place to see if you can get anything useful, and you're probably going to have to go through a lot of really bad ones before you get anything useful.
You know, I never throw them away. I always use them, you know.
Yep.
But I never knew how to like use it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can get into link skill and legion and everything. Have you seen my !links command?
No, I haven't.
So if you're wondering about which character to level and in what order to level the characters in to make sure that they benefit you and your account, you can use this, and that has all the characters in the game and all of their link skill and legion buff. And they're ranked. You can see the ranks on the bottom, like what level you need to be to get the new ranks. Some of them that are more complicated have like a little link to a picture, so it explains what they do. And based on this top line on what is useful and what gets useful only later in the game, basically the first column is like a general order in which I think classes have the most value to level up for your account.
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to start doing that.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the things that with the upcoming event you can make a lot of gains on is by building out your legion a lot. Because just leveling one character and getting it to level 70 and getting a level 1 or level 2 link, like getting a level 1 link, right, at level 70, that does like almost nothing, so it feels like working on other characters is pretty useless, right? But leveling up a lot of characters and getting both the link and the legion and all of that stuff up, like right now your legion gives you 80 luck, 10 strength, 70% chance to recover a little bit of HP, 3% cooldowns, 5 dex, 5 luck, 7 attack power, and you get plus 6% damage 10 seconds every 20 seconds, plus 650% from combo orbs, and you have a return to LOL skill that also gives you 10% experience, because it's level 100? Yeah, so 10% experience, right? And then, Jesus, my game is actually just crashed because I try to get familiars out. It's incredible.
My bad.
I was gonna try to wow you with how much my link skills and my legion give you, but I guess we'll have to just drum roll, wait for it until until my game gets back. Great demonstration of amazing MapleStory gameplay.
Yeah, for sure.
Jesus. Where's that picture of the horse poop? Hang on. Let me get... Yeah, here we go.
Dude, I love this game, man.
Roll this. Let the MapleStory in there. Yeah, there we go. God damn it. Okay. Yeah, so I'll show how much that can be in a little bit, but it definitely feels a little bit thankless to go like one character at a time. And what you also have to consider is that every single character is gonna be, every next character is gonna be faster than the previous one, right? Basically, like some characters are inherently a little bit slower and a little bit faster, but with more links and more legion that you can have to back up every next character. I don't know if you've seen me make my Ice Lightning Mage, for example. What was it, yesterday or the day before? But when I was at level 2, like my basic attacks on the Ice Lightning Mage and Maple Island were doing 8k crits.
Oh my god.
So that's because of, and that was without my link skills. That was just with my legion set to that character. So that's like what you have to look forward to as well. If you start building up your legion, like every next character is going to be so strong that you just fly through the levels, and it doesn't become so much a chore anymore, but it just becomes like a formality. And then once you hit 6k and everything is at 140, then then you can get one at a time to 200. And then again, it's mainly just like, oh, a little bit slower in the beginning, so you just throw some money, you fund it a little bit, and then you know, with the hyper stats and with the higher level areas, it'll get better and better. But it's definitely a slow start, right? Just like with Vanishing Journey, the new area is also a slow start because you have to have, you have to get started with the arcane power, with the boost nodes. You have to figure out how those systems work, right? It's a lot of information in the beginning. It's a lot of dailies. And it occupies a lot of space. Okay. I don't think we should go into the inner ability at all at this point. You don't need attack speed +1, so it's not super important. If you do get it to Well, I have exclamation mark inner ability, right? I have a command for that, so if you want to read up on that, I think that explains everything pretty well. Like how to go about it, what the potential outcomes are, and what you want to eventually aim for. I think that all is pretty straightforward. Let's see, we have like 15 more minutes. Do you want to talk a bit more about the Kana and how to go through that, or a little bit more about the dual blade?
I just to know what equips to aim for right now. That was
On the dual blade?
yeah, on the dual blade.
Yeah, so we can go a little bit one at a time. So the close was solo CRA, and then after that was like, but you want to go for the long run, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so your best in slot would be a Fafnir Katara, which you don't have access to yet, of course. At 16 stars, transposed into a Sweetwater Katara. Do you know about Sweetwater, Commercy, all that stuff?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so any boss there has a possibility to drop either the dagger or the Katara. Of course, the dagger is not a option for you right now because you already have this one, so that's way better. Yeah. But definitely just build up a bunch of Kataras, as eventually you'll try to go past 17 stars, and then even if you blow it up, you'll get a trace that goes down to 12 stars, but that keeps all your potential and stuff, and your bonus stats if you transposed it. So then you can just throw that onto another Katara you have, and then just continue from there, and you'll keep all your upgrade, and you'll start back at 12 stars. So like, as you have a backup of those, you can just keep going, and whenever there's a 5, 10, 15 event, you can just go hard.
Okay. I wanted to ask you too. I know that the synergy ring, the one that I have, I couldn't buy it on the other characters, so I was thinking of getting the one that you get for getting the 10. I think you have to get 10 accessories for. It's a quest. I don't know. Ifra.
Oh, the Ephia's ring.
Yeah.
So see what you got. 1, 2.
I don't know if to keep that one or.
Well, let me just go through it like priority wise, and then we'll get to it eventually. So like the secondary is like very important because that one will stay with you for very long, right? So upgrades that you make there will make you more stronger percentage wise because of percentage attack, but also will stay with you longer. So financially, it's like a good investment. And then the other thing is your emblem, right? Emblem will stay with you for very long as well. You have 9 attack and 6 dex, so. Compared to where you're at with everything, that's definitely really good for now. Once all the other stuff is epic and gets decent lines, then that's probably the first thing that goes up to legendary. Possibly together with the secondary, depending on how close you are. But once you can start killing... so the good part in having the Fake Zalab weapon is that once you can start killing C-Val, you can use the tickets, because you need more tickets, right? You need them both to make the weapon and the Katara. So... what's great for you is that means you can invest it into the Katara first because you don't need the weapon. So you can get it to 16 and transpose on the Katara. So you have that done, and then you can just focus on getting more Kataras and then later star forcing that. But then that means that you don't have to... you can like sit on an epic or maybe a unique Katara for a while, but you don't have to like get it to legendary and then make another one and get another one to legendary again, right? Because that wastes a lot of extra money. So like getting the... once you can start soloing C-Val, getting the Fafnir Katara first will be like good for you, so you can transpose that. And then later you can get a Fafnir dagger so that you can star force that one and then transfer hammer that into the Absolab dagger once the real Absolab dagger once you get that. But that'll be much later, right? Because you're only gonna make that if you know for sure that you're gonna take it at least to 17 stars and with a good flame and with potential that's higher than this, right? Otherwise, it's not worth switching it out. So before that, you're probably gonna be working on all the other Absolab gear to complete the set because this one still counts for the set bonus, and then you'll circle back to the weapon. And by then, you'll definitely have finished the Katara stuff and the transpose, and you'll have enough for a Fafnir dagger. So that's like the holy trinity, right? Your weapon, your secondary, and your emblem. Those are like very important. Yes, and then you basically get to the accessories. Why? Because accessories are probably next in line to get to legendary because of the ability of Meso Obtain and a drop rate percentage once you get to legendary.
Okay.
And that'll help you get those nodes that you want, help you get that money that you want. And the set bonuses are not bad in the beginning. And a lot of the pieces that are part of the boss accessory set are also flame advantage items. So even though they're low level items, they can still scale pretty well because they can get a good flame scores. What do you need in the short term to be able to kill CRA? So definitely Sweetwater Katara. Because Sweetwater Katara has 30% boss and 10% IED built into it. So that's just really, really good. That'll be a huge upgrade. So you probably get it to epic, maybe to unique. Besides that, let's look. So the weapon is going to stay with you for a while, so probably a better flame on the weapon would be advisable.
Okay.
So you can also use the flame score calculator to figure out what you want to aim for. So it's 192 base attack. It's level 160. It's flame advantage. So right now you have 43, so that's a tier 4. So you probably want to aim, so you can look here, get progressions, right? Then look at the stage that you're in. You get the weapon flame, so you're looking for tier 5 plus or a tier 6, which would be either 59 attack with plus, so that means like with boss damage, all stats, something like that, or a tier 6, which would be 77 attack. So that would be what to aim for when it comes to the flame on your weapon.
Okay.
Does that make sense? The connection of the calculator and the progression and the...
No, it does.
Yep, okay. So in the beginning, it's like, it feels like homework, but then after a while, you'll just be like, you'll know this by heart, like, oh, that's the number I'm looking for, and then the whole process will take like 2 seconds. Yeah, again, because when we think about flame score, right, one stat is roughly like 4 attack. Sorry, other way around. One attack is roughly like 4 stat worth, but since a tier 6 gains you, 34 attack, that's like 130 plus flame score, which is like the flame. It's like 1.5 flames on your cup, right? So it's like getting a whole extra item, basically, just in getting a better flame on this. That's why this is like a very high priority. Yes. So after that, we go through the accessories. Yeah, if you have one synergy ring, it's kind of bad. You're using the 3 set kind of treasure. You're using the Ifia 2 set with the pendant, right? So you'd have to upgrade the ring and switch out the pendant for like a mechanator, I guess. So you're using 7 now. Yeah, so if you switch out the Ifia pendant for a mechanator pendant, do you know where they got that?
Yeah, I know it's a boss, but I've never done it, I've never seen it, but I know where you get it.
Yeah, get it from Arcarium by doing the Silent Crusade prequests.
Oh, Silent Crusade. Okay.
Yep. Basically, the prequest will take you right to Arcarium and a little storyline there, and once you kill like the storyline arc, then you can go back in and kill the actual arc. Probably kill easy first, and then once you have enough damage to just like blow him up, then you can do start doing normal. So dependent there, and then if you upgrade the ring, but you will upgrade the regular ring that you have now, the Ifia's ring, to like Ifia's royal ring or something. I don't know. It looks a little bit more fancy with like extra colors. And then those extra 2 will take you from the 7 to the 9 slot. The other thing you can do is take up more accessories instead of the kind of treasure set. So replace the shoulder with the royal black metal shoulder, and replace the belt with the pink bean or Zakum belt, which will get flame advantage. So that will also help you in that sense. And then that will free up your pendants. Hang on, we got to do this right. For the alien fragment ones. Because the 3 set bonus will give you that 50 attack, right? And since you don't really need the boss damage and the IED from the set bonuses, getting that 50 attack will actually be really juicy for you. Because again, that 50 attack, that scales very well. So if we add those 2, you'll be at 9, and then we remove again the 1 pendant right now, so you'll be at 8. But then we switch the ring to the Iphias pendant, then you'll be back at 9. But then we will need one more slot, which we could use the ring, but the ring, it doesn't get potential, so that's kind of bad. And if the other options are the earring and the belt, which would break the boss accessory set again from 9 to 8. What am I missing? 1, 2. So we got to puzzle a little bit here.
Yeah.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh yeah, we're looking for 12, so that's not gonna... no, 13, because we can have this. So ring and ring. This one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that'll basically force us to have to go... It'll force you to have to go ring, I think. Because otherwise, 1, skip, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then you'll need a pendant. But I guess if you're on low potential, the ring will still be worth it. Even though you can get potential, it'll unlock a 50 attack line, which is more than whatever you would be getting from potential anyway. So that could be temporarily what you use.
Yeah, so I can switch the synergy ring for the alien.
Yeah, or you settle for the 7. So if you settle for the 7 boss accessory set, so that would be, let's say, badge, iron face, belt, cup, and the 2 rings. That would be 7. And then you can use... Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, and that keeps the shoulder open, right? And then you can keep the current shoulder and the Kana treasure, and then you can use the earring and the 2 pendants from Alien Fragment.
Okay.
So then
I don't do the Silent Crusader boss for the pendant.
Yeah, then you wouldn't have to do that. Okay. For the long run, you still want to unlock it because he drops confusion fragments, which you'll need later to make Meister rings. Sorry, not confusion fragments, the primal essences. He also drops confusion fragments, which you could use to make Meister earrings to then get high Star Force and transfer hammer into your superior earrings, because those will be very expensive to replace. And he can also drop Dominator pendants, which you will want to eventually transpose into a Sweet Water pendant, as later on in the game you'll go into the superior Golok set with the earring, the 1 pendant, the belt, and the ring, and then that'll keep 1 pendant slot like open, and then the best in there would be either the pendant from Varys Hilla, which is quite far away. The other option would be a Dominator pendant by itself, or 16-star high flame Dominator pendant transposed into a Sweet Water pendant, and then that one startup. Okay. And that's like at the point where you also go into the other Sweet Water. That's like past the point, right? Because at that point you want to be able to have the superior Golok set, and that's going to be very far away because that boss was made a lot harder for you to kill. So that's like very, very far away. That's after you become a hard Lux for like a month or 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. So for now, are you working on the Monster Parker medal?
Yes.
Cool. Cape will stay the same now until after you killed full CRA, because then after you kill full CRA and you upgrade it, you'll probably, at that point, you'll probably be strong enough to be killing Hard Magnus, and then you'll just get the cape from Hard Magnus. So until then, you just keep this, whatever it is. It's kind of like a placeholder until then. For shoe and glove, you can, there's a few options. You can do normal Hilla every day, and then maybe hard Hilla weekly if you can find a party, to get Necro Gear and just find something that has good flame stats. Or you can do Von Leon. Those can also get good flame stats. Or if you get a little bit stronger and you can start doing, you can probably start doing easy Cygnus, but then if you get some stronger, you might also be able to do normal Cygnus, which drops the coupons that you can also pick items from that can have good flames. Because they all have flame advantage and they're level 120, 130, and 140. And they can get very high. Well, can I show you? Oh yeah, because I was on the Adele, right? Oh, it didn't tell me. Are you having trouble logging in? That's cool. I think I fucked up my PSC. Right there. No. Listen. There we go. Yeah, you'd be surprised how good they can get, even on the quote-unquote low-level items like Necro. Like I have the shoe in this Citadel was already upgraded, but I switched it out for this one because I got this drop with 82 extra stat. Which, if you look at the base stats, it's like it's a 5 strength shoe, right? But after upgrading, it's 115, which is pretty nuts. I mean, this is a little bit out of the ordinary, but like around like mid 40s to like mid 50s, bonus stats on these is pretty doable.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the belt you want to be getting, the cup. Yeah, I went for a slightly different setup. I didn't go as tryhard because I already have a lot of damage. Oh yeah, so I was going to show you from the links in the Legion, right?
Oh yeah.
Because I have that already helping me, so I don't have to squeeze as hard in all the other places where I can get damage because I have a lot more wiggle room with the link skills in the Legion. So we saw what your Legion... Wait, should we refresh what your Legion was?
It's not even 500.
Yeah. So this is what your Legion gives, and then these are the extra buffs from your links. So if you take my Legion, when I'm just sitting on here, gives me this. And then all of this. So it's a lot of work to get from one to the other, but it's so much. Like it's like you're equipping 5 extra items or something, right? It's if you add all of that up together, there's so much stat in there, so much extra critical rate, critical damage. Yeah, and then even when you're not really decked out, because like you see my equips on this guy is pretty mild, right? A lot of things still are still rare. Some items are epic, and then one item is legendary, and then one item is unique. And that's it. And this guy was able to solo C-Vel at 205. And this guy's gear is even a little bit worse, I would say, than the gear on my dual blade. And my dual blade was able to kill at 203. So that's a combination of practicing the bosses a lot, of course, right? Because I know those bosses basically inside out. Every single time I switch to a new character, I still have to relearn a few mechanics, right? Because every class is a little bit different. But because I know what the boss is going to do, I can switch and adapt to it faster. So a combination of that and having the basics in place, right? So the IED, the critical rate, critical damage, boss damage, those things, to make sure that a lot of my damage goes through and applies. That's what, you know, gets those bosses done, and just a lot of practice. Are there any equip slots we've like ignored? So Unfazed stays this. You can start working on Commercy, which you're going to do eventually, right, to get to Kataras.
Yeah.
You just build up the Narrows, and once you're starting to try to push things to 15 stars and beyond, that's when you start switching out to for the tattoo and the monocle. Because once you can push those past 15, that's when they start getting a lot of weapon and magic attack. And that's gonna, well, mainly the weapon attack for you, of course. And that's when they're gonna like severely start overpowering the flame advantage and the boss set bonus that these guys have. And even though the Sweetwater don't have it, just the weapon attack and the extra stat that they can get will make them stronger. And then these will just get reduced to drop rate equips. And then the other ones you will cube specifically for damage.
Okay, so I still keep those to get drop rate.
Yeah, you can just, because how good your gear, the base stats and everything is on your gear when it got to drop rate starts mattering less and less and less, because it's going to be your boost nodes, your arcane power, and the equips that you'll be getting that you, what I call like the hybrid gear, like the gear that you wear both in bossing and in drop rate sets, that'll be determining how strong you really are. Like your CRA upgraded, Absolab stuff upgraded, like the cup and the belt and stuff like that. Those will, your emblem, right? Those will determine how strong your character is and how quickly you can kill. And whether your drop rate eye accessory has like 17 stars and is a monocle, or whether it's an aquatic ladder eye accessory with like an OK flame from back in the day and a little small set bonus, that's not going to determine whether you one-shot or two-shot, really. the further you go into the game. So what's more important is that you recuperate the costs of already having tiered it up to epic, or maybe even unique, or even to legendary, depending on how long it takes you to get there. Recuperating that value and maintaining that is more important than min-maxing a little bit on the accessories for drop rate, because it's only these 9, right? Only these 9 here give you meso-obtain and drop rate, and everything else is going to represent such a larger chunk of the damage that you want to focus more on min-maxing those, because you'll have value in both scenarios with those. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Yeah, just making sure if you have any questions.
No.
Yeah, so that will be 7 boss accessory, 2 Sengoku set, and then 3 alien fragment set. And that'll basically stay with you for a long time until you have like the dineros, until you're going past 15 stars, and then you start switching out. You'll probably keep using that as well to kill like hard looks to start getting coins, and helix. You can do helix in parties now because the coins are instants, so everyone gets their own coins. And you'll also have a small chance of actually clearing the boss and getting when you clear the boss, of getting the superior drops maybe, which, you know, you'll probably have to do rock, paper, scissors for or something, but hopefully work that out before you get into the boss fight in case something drops. But yeah, that's going to be like, Gollux is very much like a late and end game thing now. Pretty much like the later stages of the late game and not so much early on. So yeah, we focus more on these accessories for a way longer time than to focus on the Gollux too early on. One more thing I'll show you. I don't know if you've seen the dailies command.
Yeah, I've seen it. You know, that's how I follow what to do most of the time.
Oh yeah,
you know?
okay, yeah.
So I forget. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So if you generally follow this, it'll just make sure that you don't forget something that's super important. The only thing that's not in here that can be very important is whatever events is going on at the current time. But for that, I have the event calendar, and as you see, we're drawing near the end of our last week here. So as we get the patch notes, I will update this again, and this will all get filled up with important stuff. And then you can start using this again for all of your event information.
Yeah, when is the new event coming? Next week?
Yeah, it should be this. Hopefully Tuesday will be the patch notes, and then Wednesday the actual patch. And then after the patch on Wednesday, hopefully still, if they finish before it's actually Thursday, then it should be the first day of the new events. If it goes late, then Thursday might be technically the first day, but typically the first day of the week for MapleStory is, for events, it's typically Wednesday, and then for bosses and stuff, it's typically Thursday, and then for some stuff, it's Monday, depending on, you know, like for Dojo and stuff, Monday is the first day of the week, and for Scrapyard, Dark World Tree, like those things, it's Monday. But yeah, that's just a genius move on Nexon's part. Because, well, you know, people like to do things the last minute, right?
Yeah.
But if the last minute is a different time for everything, then everyone can always do everything on the last minute. So everyone does everything, so everyone plays more if the resets are all different. So it's actually really smart.
Yeah.
Are you a little bit more hopeful?
Yeah, for sure. Now I know what to do, because I just didn't know what to do. I was just stuck because I just upgraded the gear, you know. And I was like, you know, I still can't do CRA, so I'm stuck, and you know, I don't have the pants, so seeing that empty slot just triggers me, man.
Plus, it's cold.
Yeah.
Get a cold willy. Have you practiced the bosses already? Like, which ones have you been able to like make some headway with?
No, I haven't been practiced because I upgraded my gear yesterday and I didn't even play. I was supposed to do my dailies, but I was just too tired. I just went to sleep. And I haven't played until like I'm gonna start playing right now. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give it
yeah.
a shot.
Yeah, sure. So for the, I don't know if you've seen it on YouTube, but I did record my run with my dual blade where I do all the 4-door CRA at level 203.
No, I've seen it. I learned a lot. I've learned. I saw you, doing some things that
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't doing, and
Yeah, for sure. Like I think I had like 2 or 3 practice runs before that as well, where I was like horribly bad. And yeah, it's definitely just a matter of just walking into a wall a few times, getting absolutely dumpstered by something, and then being like, oh, that's dumb. I shouldn't be doing that. And then sometimes cheesing it a little bit, sometimes listening to some people in the chat with some good suggestions, sometimes ignoring some people in chat with horrible suggestions, and then eventually we get the boss killed. And then just as you do it more and more and more, it starts getting streamlined more. One thing I definitely don't do enough is use Darkseid, because I'm typically not a thief player at all, so that's not like my reflex to go into Darkseid to dodge map hazards, but that is something that I don't do enough that I can definitely give you as a tip, especially for Sivo. If you can dodge so you can dodge the hats in Clown, you can dodge the big clocks at the end in Von Bon, and you can dodge the rocks that drop in Sivo with Darkseid.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I learned. I saw you use that. I didn't even know. Like I didn't even have that on my hotbar.
Oh yeah, on the hotkeys. Yeah, yes. There's some skills as well where people are like, "Hey, why aren't you using this?" Like on my Adele when I was level 210, some people are like, "Why aren't you using this combination?" I'm like, "Oh wait, right, that's a thing." And then I started using it, and I'm like, "Oh shit, yeah, this is super useful," because it gave me like horizontal mobility instead of flash jump mobility, where it's more like arced, right? And if stuff are falling from the ceiling and you go arced, then you can jump into the hitbox. But if you can go horizontal, you can like dash underneath, and that saves you. Oh yeah, that's probably one thing you some use as well. You have like a little bit of a horizontal, like a drill skill.
Yeah. You were using it like literally like to dodge stuff.
Yeah, to just to move my character a little bit, like in between the rocks and stuff. I probably use it a little bit too much for like style points, but I found it very useful in certain scenarios where you don't want to flash jump because then you go too far. And you don't want to just walk because it's too slow. And if you use a dash, you do a little bit of damage and you reposition yourself. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I was using a bit too much, but I'm still figuring. I was still kind of figuring it out as well as I went. Mm-hmm. But yeah, sometimes by seeing someone who doesn't know the class at all play it, sometimes you discover something that might be useful.
Yeah, definitely, man.
And then you also see the mistakes that you definitely don't want to make.
Yeah, and I always want to get better. When I play something, I like playing it, at its full potential, how you're supposed to play.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was an eye opener looking at that.
Okay, cool. But yeah, if anything, it's also eye opener to see like what the potential is of the class, provided that it has certain funding, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not like I'm the mechanically most skilled player or anything, but if you're pretty strong, then you can have the best mechanic in the game, which is damage. Okay, so Maple Relay is probably too late, because I see you don't have too many Maple points, so you probably kind of lost out on the Maple Relay, I'm thinking.
Yeah. I did.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So. Oh yeah, I can see you have 2 knives, so that's from Sweetwater, yeah. These like rocks from Hilla, you can just throw these away, by the way. These are just useless.
Yeah, I don't know why I have them there.
I mean, it looks nice, but it just fills up your inventory.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and if you need to like collect them to be able to get the ring, right?
Yeah, I think I had them to do the alchemy thing, and then I got the drop for the cup, and I just forgot.
Yeah, and then you could just then it puts all of those offside by so much. Yeah,
yeah.
Completely useless. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I wanted to ask you one thing.
Yeah.
The soul weapon, should I use it on that one? Because I don't know if there's a better one that I can get.
Yeah, probably try to make this one a soul weapon, because you're going to use this one for a long time. And just if you make it a soul weapon and you charge by killing monsters near your level, that already give you 20 weapon attack, which is already really nice, right? It's essentially like another tier of flame that you're just getting for free. And then you can if it's a soul weapon, you can also put a soul into it, but I would just wait until there's a Magnificent Soul event and then try to go for a Magnificent Soul and put if you get a Magnificent, but it's not like the highest tier, then you can just put it in. to get like an extra effect and the passive damage bonus.
Okay.
For souls, you can also check ! souls for like information on what the tiers are and what the specific souls do, like if it's a summon or an attack, stuff like that. And the soul shards are also shown here in the dailies under here, soul shard tiers. So those are also shown here. So double S is the highest, so those are the ones you want to do the dailies for the most, so you can stock up on souls, and then when there's a Magnificent Soul event, then you can turn them into, hopefully, Magnificent Soul.
Yeah.
But yeah, making it this one a soul weapon, it totally just depends on how long you're planning to keep the weapon. And this one is going to stay with you for a long time, right? Because there's a lot of other things that have to be upgraded before you replace this.
Yeah, like you said, I'm way too far from, upgrading that weapon.
Yeah, everything else is going to have to like come into place. You're going to have everything else 17-star Abzo, basically. And then you're going to circle back once you're getting 17-star weapon and legendary. So that means like this is going to have to be legendary, this is going to have to be legendary and transposed. This is going to have to be Tyrant Cape that's probably unique with a high flame. Or already an Abzo Cape with like 17 stars. 17 star these two. You're probably going to have a heart, because this winter we're going to have a heart from the special shop coming. Fairy Heart.
I'm doing the Rise shop. They have
yes.
an Android. Does it come with a heart or no?
It comes with a heart, but it's level 30 heart, so you don't want to invest too much into it. The heart that's coming this winter is going to be level 100 heart, so that will have way higher potential tier. And since you have more than enough things to spend money on, it's probably best not to... You can equip it so that you can use the Android as a shop option. So what it'll allow you to do is go into the Android here and click shop, and then you can NPC things even if you're not near an NPC, if your inventory is full or something. So that'll be nice. But then you can replace the heart this winter with like a stronger heart, and then get way more potential from that. Yeah, you're probably gonna have... Well, you're probably not gonna have superior Golix stuff yet, but you might if you get some carries, if you get some party runs in, if you get lucky. You know.
Yeah, I only got carried like once, and that's how I got the chest.
Wait, you got the one? Oh, the top. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the top.
Yep. Yeah, that set bonus once that start coming in, flames improving, Star Force on it. So yeah, 12% luck on it on Epic, so that's already really nice too. But yeah, so I think that covers everything from like equips, and then Star Force wise, you'll just aim for like 10 or 11 on everything first. If there's a 30% off, then you can start aiming for 15. And then if everything is 15 and there's a 5, 10, 15 event, then you can start aiming for 17 beyond that. And then when everything is 17 and everything is like a legendary with 2 useful lines, then you're going to start pushing beyond. But yeah, that's like probably like 6 to 8 months from now or something. Depending on how quickly you go. Yeah. If you get the farmer online, then you can do it faster, right? Because then you're not limited to events as much.
No, for sure. I'm trying to get my girlfriend to play so she can level up my cannon.
I see.
Without telling her,
I see.
Without telling her, yeah, you want to play? Let's play this game.
This man's playing the long game. Okay.
You already know, man.
The problem is once you get her addicted, then she's gonna be playing the kana, and then she's gonna be making her own account, carrying you in the bosses.
Yeah. I can't see that. I don't
oh, okay.
I wish. I wish, man. Shit. I'm out here struggling, man. I wish I could carry, man.
You got the big binds, the domains, and everything.
Yeah.
The boss actually stands still during your blade tornado. Not jumping around, teleporting.
Yeah, I have never played. Everything that I've done, it's been like solo. Like I only got carried like I think once or twice, and I got like some emblems and stuff. But most of it, like I've been by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know too much about. I know bind is a thing, but I don't know which character has it. I don't know how you use it.
Oh, a lot of characters have binds. There's a skill in 5th job that everyone can get. That's called Urda Nova. No, is it Urda Nova? That's also a bind skill that you can equip, and then you have access to a bind. I think it's Urdanova, but I don't have it here. That works as a bind. Basically, binds can have different durations, and when you use it, the boss just gets stunned for the duration of the bind. And then when the bind is over, a boss is immune to bind and stun effects for 90 seconds. So you can't just have a bunch of characters with binds and just chain them all together and just keep the boss like locked in place the whole time. It doesn't work.
Oh, so you have to rotate.
Yeah, you just have to. Well, typically one person is just a dedicated binder, and then they will just let you know when the next bind is, so you can prep your skills. Then they bind it, and then the boss is locked in place, and then you can commit all your damage that would otherwise be more difficult to commit if the boss would be moving around and teleporting and doing skills and trying to attack you, right? Because it's not just that the boss doesn't move; it's also that it's not attacking you, so you don't have to be dodging skills as much.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot I need to learn, man. You know, I'm kind of new, you know.
Yep, no, that's fine.
Yeah, I used to play back in the day, back in my home country.
Mm-hmm.
I used to play. I remember when leveling up to level 20 was like a week, 2 weeks, or something like that.
Yeah, the first job advancement at 30 took forever.
Yeah, I remember I couldn't be on channel 1. It was forbidden.
Oh yeah, just too laggy.
Channel 1. Yeah, you get on channel 1, the computer just turns off, man.
Oh yeah, I had a potato back then too, like potato PC. I remember trying to go to the GM summon events and just I could see like the first frame half rendered on my PC if I angled my laptop screen a little bit, and then that's just all I could see. And then I would be stuck there for like 18 minutes in the air or something until my game just closed, and it's like I would never really load. And by the time I would get to the map and actually be able to load in, the event would be over. It was only, you know, or like Zakum runs would just be as soon as it started, I would just freeze, and then the sound of all the attacks together were like, with like all of the throwing stars on the arms would be like.
Yeah, man. I used to get so mad at people. I'm like, why are you guys spamming your skills?
Yeah.
You guys don't know.
My pain. You can't feel my pain right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that still with Ursus. If your computer can't handle Ursus very well and everyone starts attacking, some people just lag out or can't get any damage done. You know.
I try to do that and I can't. Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to solo that. I think you're supposed to do it with people, but I just can't find.
Yeah, solo Ursus is pretty good. Well, we run Ursus every day. We try to make sure that everyone can load in properly, deal enough damage to get the rank, and then we kill the bear so that everyone gets their money. So we do that specifically for the people who want to just do things together, and also for the people who are laggy and otherwise might miss out on money. Because if you just run with 18, then everyone just, you know, everyone is out for themselves pretty much and just kills the boss as fast as possible. And actually, it's incentivized because if somebody is in the run but they don't contribute, there's a higher chance that you get a higher rank and then you get more money. So it's almost incentivized to like screw people over who are laggy. Just kind of bad. You know. Sometimes if someone DCs or crashes or just their computer just can't handle it, even if we're waiting and we still finish, then sometimes the whole run gets like a double S, which is a lot of extra money, but it still sucks for that one person. Okay, if there's nothing specifically that you were still wondering about or anything that came up that is still unclear, then I think we can wrap it up and let you get to work on your dailies.
No, that's it, man. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for the dono, of course. Hope you got your value out of your.
Of course. No.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, best of luck, and I'll see you around in the chat.
See you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep, no problem. See ya.
See ya.
Great conversation. All right, that was another beautiful gear progression. This is for the people over at YouTube. If you also would like to get a gear progression, make sure you check the description of the video. And I stream pretty much all day, every day on Twitch, twitch.tv/Scardo. So come and drop by and say hi. And don't forget to give me the Twitch Prime, okay? All right, I'll see you guys. Bye-bye, YouTube people. And hello, Twitch people.